Good morning, it's March 26th, and this is To My Liberal Friends. Well, this coming November, the nation will have to make a big choice on who will live in the White House for the next 4 years. Will it be Joe Biden or Donald Trump that wins a second term? Well, if you listen to most liberals in the urban centers of this country, and that includes the mavens in the liberal media who parrot what the Democratic machine wants them to say, you would think there'd be no contest win for Joe Biden. But if you look at the polling that's being done, you would start to think that someone in that liberal bubble is not seeing the facts. New York Times columnist Paul Klugman, the ultimate liberal, wrote a piece this past week asking what is wrong with Ohio voters that they could support conservatives. Now, he lives in that bubble and does not get it, and he's worse off for not getting it. Someone should write a rebuttal asking what is wrong with the New York voters. And here are some polling numbers to tell you that those who tell you that Biden's going to win should be questioned. The average of polls being taken shows that Trump has a 2-point lead over Biden nationwide. And that's a serious number for Biden because Democrats count on winning the popular vote because of California and New York. I say those two states because if you remove the large majorities they pile up on those two bastions of liberalism, Democrats lose the popular vote in the rest of the nation. But if their majorities shrink in these populous states, it spells doom across the battleground states. I've talked about the 7 battleground states where Trump has an average lead of 3.6%. He has leads in Wisconsin, Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Nevada. Those leads range from a half percentage point in Pennsylvania to over 5% in states like Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina. And Nevada's not far behind at 4.3%. The real question is, why is Trump leading in these polls? The political scene in the United States is on a pendulum. In 2016, the voters rebelled against Hillary Clinton and viewed her as an insider. Trump was the outsider, and so they voted mostly against Clinton and elected Donald Trump. In 2020, the pendulum swung again that Trump's antics turned off moderate and independent voters, and so they flipped and elected Joe Biden. They ignored Trump's policies and voted on his personality, which they found distasteful. Well, that brings us back to 2024, and it's evident that the public's not happy. They're not happy about inflation. They're not happy about the southern border. They're not happy about left-wing mandates on buying EVs and telling them they cannot use the appliances they find convenient. They're not happy about the price of gas, which is moving upward again. Where I live, it's increased about 50 cents per gallon in the last month. We need to take a look at the two candidates, and then we might get some insight into why Trump is pulling ahead of Biden. At the outset, Trump is selling optimism, and Biden only sells fear. Trump sees the United States in a positive light. He tells us we can be a great nation. Biden tells us we must fear everything. Most of all, we must fear Donald Trump. He denigrates a large segment of the voting public by sneering the term MAGA. Americans don't want to fear the future. They want to hope for a better one, and that's not the message Joe Biden is selling. And if you look at the two candidates side by side, you see one that projects strength and one that projects weakness. Trump is the more vibrant of the two, and Biden looks and acts like the 84-year-old man that he is. But the truth is, Trump is a strong male figure, and that attracts people. Biden does not come across as anything but a weak person, someone that takes direction and does not lead. Trump is a leader. Whether you like him or not, he leads his followers. Biden is what he is, a career politician that served in the Senate most of his adult life, and that means he has to be part of the team. Trump would never have survived as a senator because he's not a team player. He's more the individual. And if we look at the message of the two campaigns, we see the contrast, and so do the American people. Biden took office and started telling us how we should be ashamed to be Americans. He set about lecturing us, all of us, on how rotten America is, a white supremacist nation. All of his equity fixes were meant to correct the wrongs of the past. He spent much of his time shaming half the country, calling them extremists and racists. He said he would only appoint a black woman to the court. He would only hire women of color and people of color and members of the LGBTQ alphabet soup that changes every week, and then bragged about it, further alienating the silent majority. He marginalized merit over non-merit qualifications. Everyone can sense a crisis among the nation's men, yet Biden is perfectly happy with that, it seems. Shame them, marginalize them, and then expect them to vote for you. I don't think so. The Democrats got what they wanted in 2020. They had 4 years to prove to Americans that they could do the job better. Trump was finally gone. So great, right? Everything should have gone perfectly after that. Calm to chaos. The adults are back in the room, and happy days are here again. Well, 1 year later, Biden's exit from Afghanistan showed America and the world just how incompetent the man in the White House was, and his approval ratings have never recovered. By contrast, Trump makes it abundantly clear with 4 words on a red hat: make America great again. Democrats took that as an insult, but really it means bringing back manufacturing, bringing back patriotism, make America first. Trump has never wavered from his desire to see America come out on top. And Democrats are offended when you say make America first. And yes, American exceptionalism means telling Americans how great they are, how great this country is, or used to be and can be again. That's the whole point of it. And selling it is key to any presidency. It's also what brings all Americans together, or used to. It's the fragile thread that ties each of us together. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening.